Ladies and gentlemen, this is part number 9 of the Ark of the Covenant series by Michael Fazio. And what we discussed in part number 8, towards the end of the dissertation, is in fact the faces of what I call the Egyptian gods. When you invert this pictograph that you see before you on the screen, and you should stop it and play with this. However, these pictographs are all in the book Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio. But when you rotate this pictograph and turn it upside down, as I said in part number 8, you see a perfect representation of a pharaoh's head. Now, the reason that you see the pharaoh's head with the forked beard that is behind my finger and the vulture's headdress that is now behind my finger, the reason you see these two is because the face that you see behind, that you see inside here, and the face that you see inside here are Egyptian faces. They are faces of the Egyptian King Tutankhamun's headdress. This representation of Tutankhamun was made 7,000 years ago, or several thousand years ago, when they buried Tutankhamun. However, this headdress is an identical 2-scale replica of what appears on the reverse of the $1 bill on either end, and is denoted as the beasts that appear on the end of the $1 bill. And I can tell you that they are called beasts because any animal, any creature, whether it is an eagle, is a beast. An eagle is a beast. So when you see in the next part of the series that I'm going to discuss, this eagle is one of the 4 beasts denoted on the reverse of the Ark of the Covenant on the reverse of the $1 bill. A beast is also a bullock. And a bullock is something that is what is known as a beast of burden. However, when you look at a bullock from a certain perspective, a bullock can also, which is denoted in the Bible, can also be denoted as an oxen. So when you see the words oxen and bullock on the reverse of the $1 bill, and it is discussed that these pictographs appear on the Ark of the Covenant that was given to Moses by the Lord God, there is in fact an oxen or bullock on the reverse of the $1 bill and on the Ark of the Covenant, and that is denoted by looking at the pictograph on either end of the Ark of the Covenant, on either end of the $1 bill. Especially, it can be seen when you rotate these beasts, so to speak, in the vertical position. It is very simple to see that this is a representation of a set of horns similar to that of a bullock or an oxen. However, I created these little pictographs and I colored them in so that you could see this a little bit more clearly. This is also a representation of a bullock or a calf on the end of the $1 bill. However, this pictograph that you see before you, with the faces that face before and behind, these faces that you see before and behind are the faces of the angels that are denoted as the 6th-winged seraphim that appear on the reverse of the $1 bill. And these are in fact 6th-winged seraphim, because when you take the eye of either one of those creature-like men or men-like creatures, and you immediately to the left and right of the eyes count the lines that are next to the eyeballs themselves, you can immediately see that they are represented as 6 individual segments to the left and right of the eyes, and that is how the 6th winged seraphim that protect the Lord God both day and night and sing holy, holy, holy is represented on the reverse of the $1 bill. And this is how the bullock or oxen is represented as the beast that is on the reverse of the $1 bill. And the pictures of men that appear to be men that are not men is how the beast called men that are not men, or man-like creatures that protect the Lord God both day and night, and are the angels of the Lord God, aka the faces of the 6th winged seraphim. This is how the 6th winged seraphim are denoted, and the methodology in which the oxen, the bullock, the 6th winged seraphim itself, and the faces of men that are likened unto men but are not necessarily men. And this is covered where it says in Revelation 4:6, it says, in the center around the throne. So, around the throne is in fact, the throne is where the Lord God's energy, or Shinka, exists. This is the throne of the Lord God, aka the Ark of the Covenant. The numeral that represents the word one, or the one God's first commandment, aka the Lord God, thou shalt have no other gods before me. This is the one God. This is the throne. The angels that I just discussed with you in Revelation 4:6, it says, in the center around the throne were 4 living creatures. So if you take that literally, in the center, on either side of the Ark of the Covenant, in the center, of course, this being the center of the Ark of the Covenant, not the center per se, the center of the mercy seat, but the center of the Ark of the Covenant, sat the 4 creatures. So this is the center, and these are the representations of the 4 creatures, or living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. So in the center around the throne were 4 living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. In the center around the throne were 4 living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. Now let's move back. In the center around the throne, this being the center, in the center, around the throne, in the center, around the throne, the 6th winged seraphim that appear around the throne, the 6th winged seraphim that at this point is the hinge of the angel's wings, at this point is the hinge of the angel's wings. The 6th winged seraphim that appear, that surround the throne, and this surrounds the throne because the 6th winged seraphim typically have their wings touching. And at the bottom and at the top, those wingtips almost touch. However, in my book I described to you, well, there are many reasons why they don't touch now. But when you close that gap and make this set of wingtips of the 6th winged seraphim touch, it forms a pictograph on the reverse of the $1 bill that is rather interesting. When you take these sets of wings that are further apart and bring them together, it forms a completely different set of pictographs. So this is how they have made 3,300 pictographs on the reverse and obverse of the $1 bill. This is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. This is serious science. No human being on earth now or before in 1934 could have done these things. So let's go back to the pictograph or to the words, in the center around the throne were 4 living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. These are the eyes that they were covered with. Here is an eye. Here is an eye. However, there is also an eye. There is also a set of eyes. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking that way. No matter how you turn the end of the $1 bill, there is a set of eyes that covers the ends of the $1 bill. And here it is before I show